I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Inevitable, that podcast where we eat a banana and pear sandwich because this week we watched Circle of Fear.
Written by Jeremy Burnham and Trevor Ray.
Directed by Peter Graham Scott.
And aired on January 17th, 1977.
All right, episode 2.
Take like 5 billion. Took us a while to get through that intro.
Yeah, I mean, there's about like once a year where there's just one intro that just takes us like 5 attempts.
It's more than once a year.
It's more like 3 times a year. But anyway, once a quarter.
A quarter.
So, episode 2 of Children of the Stones, decidedly not as interesting as episode 1, but still pretty interesting because there's still a lot of discoveries going on around the town.
Yeah, you know, I was surprised because my memory of this show is like episode 1, 6, and 7 have a lot going on, and 2, 3, 4, and 5 are just nothing. But that's actually not the case, having rewatched this.
Yeah, there's a lot of discovery that goes on in this episode. This episode actually went by very quickly when I was watching it.
Well, it's 25 minutes as well.
No, but like the first one was like it felt very dense and like kind of slow, and this one was just like done.
It's definitely not as dense, but there is definitely stuff to be had. So, I mean, it starts off right where the last one left off. It actually starts with a recap of, you know, Adam going out to touch the stone and
getting
Matthew,
zapped.
Right, and Matthew riding his bike, almost hitting Di.
Almost dying.
Yeah, Di is apparently, I think it's spelled D-A-I, but like you gotta question like, where does this name come from? Why did his parents name him Di? Maybe he's like a dyed-in-the-wool skeptic as to like the happy people. And that's where it comes from.
Well, Matt chastises him like, you crazy old man. You busted up my bike. And the guy's like, stay away from the stones. You don't want to do anything with the stones. And the guy's like, what are you even talking about?
But Di actually, this is where Di realizes that Matthew hasn't been converted into a happy one. And he's like, oh, you're normal. Wow.
And Matthew's like, what does that mean? And Di's like, shouldn't have said that.
Well, let's just touch on this here. My first time watching through this show, I had extreme difficulty understanding Di. So I'm curious to know whether you did.
No.
No?
No.
My this rewatch, maybe I've just become more accustomed to and proficient with understanding various British accents, but I can understand them pretty well this time.
You've acclimated.
But I remember when I watched this, I think it was in 2018, beginning of 2018, I was just like, yeah, I have no idea. Like, I can't understand a word that's coming out of this guy's mouth. And I feel like I missed aspects of this show because of that, because Di is actually a very integral character.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, Adam learns from, what's her name again?
Margaret.
I don't know why I can't remember her name. That some lunatic wrote about like psychic forces in the stones.
Well, she mentions that she like read this fringe book about how some people are more capable of sensing the psychic forces coming off the stones. And there's also something weird going on in this scene where she tries to give Adam like a glass of water and he's like, screw that, I need some alcohol. And she goes and gets him some scotch, and she has some herself, and she comes back and she gives him the glass, and he's like, none for you. And she's like, no, I don't drink. When she just like downed the glass herself.
So Matthew takes his busted up bike home to his dad, and his dad's like, you're gonna have to like fix it, or you guys can't ride your bike anymore. And Matt's like, well, maybe I can sell the scrap for money. I'm like, to whom? This town's got like 20 people. Who's gonna buy your bike for scrap?
Also remember back to episode 1 where he just found the bike, like he didn't even really bring it with him. And really, actually thinking back to episode 1, I'm just realizing this now, but pretty much everything was prepared for them. They seemingly brought not much, if anything at all, with them.
They brought the weird painting that somehow convinced the government to pay them to come out here.
They brought that and the clothes on their backs. It's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, that kind of plays into the later on when Di's like, only the new arrivals disappear. Was that Di?
Yeah, I think it was
only
Di.
the new arrivals disappear.
Right. But now Adam and Matthew decide to go run some experiments on the stones.
Right. And Matthew thinks that all the stones look like they're leaning, and Adam's like, maybe. It makes sense because the stones are like thousands of years old and they've probably sunk into the ground, so probably nothing we need to like concern ourselves with right now.
Right, but then Matthew reveals that they're all. Maybe this was later actually, but
Yeah, it's later. It's after he talks with Dai because he needs to get the lenses from Dai's telescope to make his little invention that checks if the stones are upright or not.
Right, but one thing he does do here is he sees a captured rabbit and he frees it, and then he goes like, "Oh wait, that was probably Dai's lunch."
So Dai like just shows up at the house.
Yeah, because he freed his dinner. Like that's actually why he shows up and starts just eating them out of house and home because like Matthew just freed his food.
But he says something how he's dug holes in the water for fish, and I'm like, you what?
Okay, this is totally unrelated, but I saw this like actually kind of disturbing GIF recently where it's this guy. It actually looks like a child based on their hands. You only see their hands, and the video is like almost a first-person perspective on just like a hole in the ground, and you see this guy like digging the hole, and then they fill it with Coke and Mentos, and it starts fizzing up, and like mud starts bubbling up.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, and they reach in, and there's like just what do you call
fish?
A fish, but like this.
It's like a catfish, isn't it?
It looks like a catfish, but they have a specific name, like a mud. It's not a skink. A skink is like a lizard. There's a specific name. I'll put it in the show notes for this type of creature. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, so Dai sort of reveals his past, how he used to be a gold miner. And now he's just like a random poacher who just lives in the woods or something.
He says that nobody ever leaves the circle. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, what?
Check out any time you want, but you can never leave.
What?
Nobody. And he starts just eating all of their food.
Yep.
And Matthew asks Dai here, according to my notes, whether all the stones lean at the same angle. And I think Dai, I believe, says something to suggest that they do, which is weird, because why would they all lean at the same angle?
Right, but then, so Matthew decides to try to test this theory, and he asks Dai for the lenses from his telescope, and Dai's like, lol, no, but then Matthew convinces him somehow, and I don't remember how he does that. But he does get the lenses from the telescope, and he builds this kind of weird device that he uses to check the lean of the stones.
Yeah, and he does find out that they are all leaning at the same angles, and he says it's as if there's some sort of like underground dish or like dais that they're all on.
Because as it turns out, all the stones are actually directly upright, vertical, and it's just the landscape being not flat that makes it look like they're all leaning.
Right. Meanwhile, as we, I think, found out in episode 1, the circle isn't actually aligned as most stone circles are to any like lunar or solar phenomenon. It's just kind of there.
Right.
Which is why Adam has now, we find out, like contacted like someone he knows in the US to like map what the circle is aligned to.
Yeah, Palomar Observatory.
Yeah.
Which I haven't been to, but I know some people who have been there.
Huh. Maybe one of them was, one of these people that Adam contacted in the 70s. So we cut to a scene where Matthew is just wearing like a bright yellow bathrobe and has reportedly eaten a pear and banana sandwich because Adam asks like, so if Dai ate all our food, like what did you eat? He's like, oh, pear and banana sandwich.
The lesser form of the apple and banana sandwich.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Feel like it is.
I mean, there's the peanut butter and banana sandwich. Quite delicious, actually.
And then there's the deluxe peanut butter and jelly and banana sandwich. I just made that up right now, but I'm sure somebody's done it before.
No, people do that.
Then there's the even more deluxe bread sandwich.
Yeah, I ate a toast sandwich the other day.
I think
they're pretty good.
It would have been really funny if Adam's like, what did you eat? And Matthew's like, I had a toast sandwich.
I ate the rabbit that I freed. Raw. He just turns around. There's like blood all over his mouth.
Anyway, this lady's like, you can't mail this letter. It's going to cost too much. And Matthew's like, what? Like, we can pay. And she's like, no, you just can't mail it to America. You're just not allowed to.
Right. This is the woman from the shop in episode 1.
And she's just like, you can't. You can't. We're not allowed. You know.
Nothing leaves the circle.
And they're like, well, that's kind of weird.
Doesn't she, or am I just misremembering, or doesn't she eventually accept it and she does mail it, right?
She does accept it. I don't think we know if she mails it or not, because we
Huh.
don't know if they get a response in this episode or not.
Yeah. I don't actually remember what happens. Just trying to dig deep back in my knowledge of when I watched this like almost 2 years ago.
Adam and Matthew have a nice, cool little conversation, and by cool I mean kind of boring. Where Adam's like, "So the teacher's a maths expert," and Matthew's like, "Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, but there's like this group of kids in the class who like doing stuff way beyond what I understand," and Adam's like, "That is pretty weird.
But
That is pretty weird."
Yeah. Matthew also says it's weird how friendly they are, and Adam is like, "That's the first. I think you're the first kid to ever like complain about their classmates being too friendly."
It's true though. He is the first.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it doesn't seem like Sandra is too as concerned as he is, at least. But one thing we also find out here is that Matthew has used the information that he got from studying the angle of the stones to map some of the ley lines, and he finds out that the ley lines are actually not touching the outside of the stone circle. They're touching the outside of a smaller circle within that stone circle, which happens to be around Hendrick's house.
Yeah, because the ley lines are supposed to be tangent to a circle, which is, it just means that it touches the circle at one point and one point only. But they all like intersect the stone circle and then like continue through and intersect it again. So they're chords and not tangent lines. So then Matthew kind of just picks a random 3 lines to continue through the circle on his little map. He just kind of picks 3 at random, and they just happen to like create a circle around Hendrick's house. And I don't know if you like pause at a scene, because I paused for a second to see if the other lines would have created the same circle, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have.
I'm surprised you can even like see again. Like you paused on like the equation in the first episode, and like this one too. Like I'm surprised you can see with the quality of these episodes.
Hey man.
But yeah, no, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, like this is supposed to shine like or shed some suspicion on Hendrick. I guess what this scene is like doing it. Whether or not they actually like achieved that with the map prop is another question.
Well, so I guess Matthew decides to take it upon himself to go out and investigate, like in the middle of the night, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently the town is deserted. Someone, I don't remember whether it was Di or Margaret, was like, yeah, so everyone who's not a new arrival to this town just like disappears every once in a while. Which is, happening now. Matthew's just wandering through the deserted town. There's fog everywhere. It looks creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to Hendrick's mansion, and they're performing like everyone in the town is there, and they're performing like some satanic like ritual.
Right.
Meanwhile, Adam, I think, is discussing with Margaret, and yeah, I think this is the point where Margaret's like, yeah, anyone who's not a new arrival just disappears like sometimes.
And Adam's like, that's pretty weird.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah, I think it actually ends on the satanic ritual. But
Yeah.
because my final note is WTF is going on.
Yeah, and one more thing, when Matthew sees this ritual, he has the same visions that Adam had when he touched the stone.
Right. So something's going on here. Matthew has some visions earlier in the episode as well, actually.
Oh yeah, we forgot the part where he's in his room, and his room looks like just a converted loft, actually, which is pretty cool. But he looks at the painting and he has the same visions, and then the painting like ominously falls off the wall.
He's like, damn, didn't put the nails in. Right. Put the nails in too far.
No, it's actually just like the supernatural.
It's actually
phenomenon
aliens. It's actually aliens.
But that's it for this episode.
Yeah. Adam talks a lot about how the what am I trying to say here? How the stone circle is kind of arranged like some sort of receiver for psychic energy.
Right.
Kind of like how a radio dish would be a receiver for radio waves.
Right. Another like little tidbit of information.
And so that's another kind of thing. The ley lines are like wires that transport the psychic energy out. That's like his theory right now.
Right.
Like he's just fully bought into this fringe theory that it's psychic.
Well, one thing I like about the show is that we're going to see that theory develop over the course of, the rest of the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see like where they're going to take it, because I feel like Adams spelled it out pretty much in this episode, at least his theory.
Well, there's definitely a big plot element that when I first watched this, did not see coming whatsoever.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah,
because I'm already surprised at the direction this is going. Like I didn't expect this whole it's a receiver dish for psychic energy, and the ley lines are like wires. Like that's already, not my first prediction.
Yeah, and I like where this is going. The mystery is being built up. But I do, now that we've discussed this episode, I do feel like we're starting to see things kind of slow down and fizzle out in a way. Because we did get those juicy bits of information here, but we also got the small, and I mean I think this contributes to the feel of this show of this small town that's caught up in all of this. But the juicy tidbits are becoming, I think, becoming fewer and more far between.
Right.
Which is, again, why I kind of liken this show to a movie that's just split up into 7 25-minute parts.
But even still, if it was a long movie, that just is that means the pacing is way off, because that means that they info dump everything in the first, say, 45 minutes of the movie, and then you have to wait another hour and a half till anything else happens. I haven't seen the rest of the episodes, so I don't really know, obviously. But if that is the case, that's indicative of some larger pacing problem.
Yeah, well, I find that more I find that to be the case more with movies rather than TV shows, and I also find that to be more forgivable with movies of you're sitting down for this hour and a half, say, thing, and you know that there's going to be that payoff or whatever, rather than all right, I'm waiting week by week to find out what's going on, and they're just running around and he's going to school and.
Yeah, no, it is more forgivable with a movie because of that, you're watching it all at once, so you're going to get the information one way or another, whereas with a TV show, you're watching week by week, and then if one week is really slow, you're just well, I don't want to watch, anymore, right? So, I
mean, that's it for this episode. I know last week we were yeah, we're going to dive in more to, crew members, because the cast is, pretty much already been all introduced, and I did not do that whatsoever, but it's okay, because we have 5 more weeks.
That's true. I did look up the actor who plays Di, and I don't have his name, so I'm Freddie Jones. He actually passed away just this year, July 9th, 2019. He's been in quite a bit. He's been in Emmerdale, Midsummer Murders, The Bill, Neverending Story 3.
Hell yeah.
The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the Dune movie. He played, who did he play in Dune? Tufir Hawat.
I don't remember who that is from the book. I've never watched the movie.
And he was in Z Cars as well. Oh. And yeah, so he's been in a lot. Black Cauldron as well, apparently.
Oh wow, the Disney one?
I think so.
Is the Disney one the Black Cauldron based on or is that just an original Disney thing? I don't even know.
I don't know.
The only reason I know that movie is because of its infamy of how
because of the controversy.
Well, because of how Disney never released it beyond VHS or whatever, because it was said to be one of their worst movies or something.
I think it's just controversial. I mean, it's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, I actually before Disney Plus came out, I almost tweeted if Black Cauldron, I forget what I was going to do, but it was something absolutely stupid that I would regret. Is if Black Cauldron is on Disney Plus, I'll blank, and I forgot what it was. Screenshot this.
And then Black Cauldron is on Disney Plus.
So I was glad I didn't do that. Oh, if Black Cauldron is on Disney Plus, I'll subscribe to Disney Plus. I'm glad I didn't say that.
Yeah, you'd be giving Disney money right now if you had said that. You'd be shelling over to our Disney overlords.
You know what? With Disney as big as it is, It was with Disney as big as it is. I'm sure just by like existing, I'm somehow giving Disney money in
Well, if
some
you watch
roundabout way.
ABC, you're giving Disney money.
I don't watch TV, cable TV.
If you watch any movie distributed by, was it Miramax?
Yeah, it's Miramax. If you watch, yeah, it's Miramax. Yeah.
Giving money to Disney. If you watch ESPN, Disney. If you go to the ESPN website, you're technically giving money to Disney because of all the ads on the website, unless you've got an ad blocker, I guess. So yeah, pretty hard to avoid giving money to Disney in this Disney-centric world we now live in.
Yeah, good thing we can always revisit classics untouched by Disney, like Children of the Stones.
Great. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
No, neither do I.
You can email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on Children of the Stones, episode 2. Find us on YouTube at Decorative Vegetable. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify at Inevitable, a classic sci-fi podcast. Be sure to leave a rating if you liked the show.
Check us on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us on Twitter at TYD Podcast and follow us on Twitter. And next time, we're going to be watching something with the word circle in it. Serpent in the Circle. But until then, the end.